Another rainy day in paradise. I wanted to get a lot of work done in the garden, but it's going to be hard to do that. So I think I'm going to use this chilly rainy day to make some baguettes inside. So I'll bring you along with that if you want to follow. We've already covered baguette making in the past, but that's what I'm going to be doing today. I'm a little bit better at it maybe. But today is also my birthday. I'm going to be, or actually I am, 74 years old now. Just a spring chicken. Anyway, that's what we're doing today, so feel free to follow along. Thanks. One of the first things I like to do for whenever we make bread is I actually like to heat up our own water on the wood stove for the bread dough, and I put a thermometer in it. It's a chilly morning here in the cabin, so I like looking for about, maybe 90, 95 degrees. Keep it a bit on the warm side. I'm also preheating the mixing bowl that we'll be mixing the dough in. Just lit the fire literally 5 minutes ago, so it's going to take things a little while to get up to snuff here, but we'll be doing good. The water temperature is high enough now, so I'll take that over and get it ready for the bread dough. I love the sound of that first of the morning fire crackling in the wood stove. It really sounds great to me. Okay, the first thing we need to do is put 240 grams of that warm water in this mixing bowl. So I've got the mixing bowl on the scale, and we'll put the water right in it. Hmm. 242, that's close enough. Into our nice warm water, we'll put all of the poolish we made last night. The poolishes are pre-ferment. You don't have to make a poolish. Poolish is made with flour, water, and just a pinch of yeast. Sometimes I use a leaven, which is flour, water, and a bit of sourdough starter. And for our flour, we're going to use this mixture of 345 grams of bread flour and 55 grams of rye flour. Usually I use diastatic powder instead of rye flour, but we ran out of diastatic powder. We'll have to get some during the off season. Now we'll give that mixture just a little bit of a pre-stir before we go to the mixer. We'll connect the mixer to the solar panels here in the other room and give this thing a bit of a pre-mix. That should be good. Just a couple minutes on there is all it needs. I'm going to take the mixing bowl, the dough hook and all, back into the warmer kitchen. Just scraping down the dough hook, and we're going to set this up for a 20-minute rest before we put the rest of the ingredients in the bowl. Okay, the 20-minute auto rest period is over. Now it's time to go back to the stand mixer. And we'll put 2 grams of yeast, instant yeast, in the mixing bowl. Then we're going to give that a good 3 or 4 minute mix. That should be enough mixing for now, 3 or 4 minutes. I'll turn it off and take the bread dough back into the kitchen. I just want to point out that this is not one of those fancy studio kitchens that you see. This is a working kitchen on a homestead. So while I'm making the bread dough, Danielle's over there making coffee, and over here on the wood stove we've got breakfast going. So just so you know, we're nothing fancy here. I'm just going to wet my hands and give the bread dough a few preliminary turns to form it into a nice ball. A nice cohesive ball. Just a few bowl flips here what we're doing. The dough is a little bit sticky, not too terribly sticky as much as some that we've worked with, but it makes the going a little bit easier if you dip your hand in water, which I have right here, warm water. And I just kind of do a few bowl flips and shape it into a round ball. We're going to cover that and let it sit for half an hour. I'm doing 2 sets of folds, bowl folds if you will. Just lift up the dough, slap it down on itself, go all the way around, 4 folds, and then I go around again. This helps to add strength and help to develop the gluten structure. Very important that you do this. In the old days, our mothers would take the dough and put it on the countertop and just knead the dough back and forth. This is kind of an updated version of that. Just developing the gluten structure. That's all it takes. It takes about 15 seconds to do that. I did one earlier, about a half an hour ago, and then I'm done with that now. So this dough is going to go back into a warm spot on the stove and rest for 2 hours, and then we'll come back and work on it again. We divided the dough into 4 equal parts. They're about 230 or so grams a piece, thereabouts. And after that, we shape the dough into rounds. We can get 4 rounds out of our batch of dough. And I just shape them really quick with my fingers like you do your hamburger buns. No different. I like to staple the round together first, like that. Flip it over, and then just shape it into a round. Voila. Put those guys together and I will cover them. I'll sprinkle a little bit of flour on top first. And then I'm going to cover them with my my bread towel. Let them rest for about 20 minutes. Okay, our 20 minutes are up, so now it's time to shape the baguette loaves. We take our rounds and I like to flip them upside down because they have flour on the top. Then I just kind of take it and spread it out into a rectangular shape. Like that. And then I just start at the far end, which is here, and I just take my fingertips and I just roll toward me and use my fingertips to press down to help seal them. And sometimes they stick to your surface. I usually make these over there on the wooden surface, but Danielle's got a project going on over there, so I'm just gonna just do the best we can over here. Don't really need a lot of room anyway. I like to make the ends of the baguette loaves kind of sharp, and I can't go too long with them because we have a very small oven. The wood stove's oven is very small. So, but that's one. And I put it on this bread cloth that I used earlier. And I just tuck the cloth around the loaves. I have a little shaker of rice flour that I sprinkle on my bread cloth to help to keep the loaves from sticking. So enough talk, let's go ahead and make these. There we go. Like I said, if they stick too much, you've got your shaker of flour nearby. I've got rice flour for the bread cloth, and I've also got regular bread flour for sticking purposes, if it's sticking too much anywhere. Sometimes it sticks to your hands too much, but this is pretty dry flour. There's not a lot of water in it. Danielle's making macaroni and cheese over there, but she's gotten to the point where she freed up a piece of the wood surface for me. Shaping these things works so much better on wood. But she had the priority right now because she's making macaroni and cheese. I'm just making stupid bread.
It's a special macaroni and cheese because today is Stephanie's birthday. Doesn't that look good?
Mm-hmm. That looks wonderful. I'm lusting after the macaroni and cheese that Danielle's making for dinner. Oh man, it's my favorite.
The breadcrumbs are made from the bread that you made yesterday,
Oh,
Stephanie.
no kidding.
Yep.
Cool.
I toasted it, buttered it, and smashed it.
Oh.
And there you go. It's going in the oven. None of this stovetop stuff for me.
Stovetop stuffing?
No. After all, it's called baked macaroni and cheese.
Oh, that's the only kind.
Okay, it's going in.
Need help?
Just a door opener when, no rush.
Like I said earlier, this is a real kitchen. This is not a studio on a TV set or anything. We do real cooking here. Real time cooking for the homestead. And I've got them wrapped in my, I'll cover them in the bread cloth. There we are, 45 minutes. We'll see you then. I like to spread cornmeal on my stone to keep the loaves from sticking. About that much. Then I took a cardboard flap here from a box, and I used that to pick up the loaves of bread to transport them to the stone, like that. I try to shade the loaves to the far side, and I'll show you why in a minute. There we go, 2 baguettes coming right up. Cover the other ones that aren't being cooked yet. And then I take a lamb and score them. And then in it goes. You're going to do the water for me, right? In it goes. We try to do everything quickly because everything's cooling off. And then I cover it with an aluminum turkey baking thing. I set my timer for 10 minutes. And then I take a deep breath. With a wood cook stove, you can't just throw them in for the time and then walk away and do something else, because you're operating and monitoring your temperature and you have to make adjustments. It's a little tricky with a wood cook stove, but that's what you have to do. Alright, our 10 minutes is up, so we're going to take that aluminum cover off. That was just to help hold moisture in to give us a good crust, because most of the flavor of baguettes comes from the crust. So that's our baguette so far, and we're doing good. We'll set the timer for another 10 minutes. At this point, the baguettes are probably just about done. What I'm doing now is I'm just checking their brownness, their doneness, because they get a lot of flavor from that brown crust. So I want that brown crust to be perfect. They're not quite ready yet. So that side is done. I want this side to be like that. And maybe I'll switch those two around. I'm looking for color. That right there. And check the other one. The other one can use a couple more minutes. Maybe a minute. So this one flattened a little bit. I like to turn it on its side when it flattens like that. Give it a little water bath. Everything is very hot and the oven is very hot, but that doesn't mean you have to panic. I lose a lot of heat loading it up like that, but there's no other way to do it. So I saw a second ago that this one needs to be turned around. And we'll take a look at this one. This one has a ways to go, so I'm going to switch places with those. Hopefully not lose too much heat. Alright, let's see how we're doing. I think they're all done. That one's not too bad. Put him
Beautiful.
on the done pile, and here's
wow.
and there we go. There we go, 4 baguettes. Alright, so our little baguette project is finished. They're so delicious. I highly recommend making them. The dough itself is not too hard to make. In fact, it's relatively easy. Of course, we make it a challenge because we use the wood cook stove. If most of you will have a modern oven at home, makes it so much easier. But we're we're old school. But yeah, I highly recommend making baguettes. Next fall, we'll do another video because there's another step that'll make them taste even better. So that's it from here. Thanks for watching. Bye.